Hey guys, welcome to For Real Guide. I hope you're all having an absolutely incredible day. And in this video today, we're going to be following up on and adding on to our last video, which was signs that you might be lacking self-love. So I gave you a bunch of different reasons that, hey, you might be lacking self-love. A lot of them resonated with me too. And now we're going to be diving into ways that you can start to love yourself more. I think a lot of times we spend so much of our love and our energy giving it to somebody else, whether it be your spouse, your significant other, your friends, even your job, if you really love your job, that we forget to love ourselves. And it's often said that the most important relationship you can have is with yourself, and that you can't truly love other people until you fully love yourself. I think a lot of people might think, okay, self-love. You know, I want to love myself completely. I want to be so incredibly in love with myself. It seems narcissistic. It seems selfish. What if, I want to give all my love to different people? What if I want to give all my love to, God? If you believe in God, what if I want to give all my love to my children, to my significant other, to my friends, to giving back to the community? It seems like putting all that aside to love yourself fully and completely can be taking away from the love that you want to exert to other people and things. But think about it this way. You can only love something or someone to the extent that you love yourself. So by loving yourself, you're filling yourself with this positive energy that will literally radiate more than it is right now. And people are going to notice it, and people are going to feel more loved because you love yourself even more. You can't pour from an empty cup. So you need to fill that cup before you can start pouring it out and giving that to other people. Bottom line, you and everyone is deserving of a full and complete love from themselves, because it literally does radiate to everyone else and everything else in this world. And it's going to make our society and our world so much better if we all start loving ourselves a little bit more. So with that being said, I'm going to now go over 10 ways that you can start loving yourself more. So the first way to start loving yourself more is to find your passion. One of the most powerful ways to love yourself is to literally do something every single day that excites you. And that's what finding your passion is. And it's a little bit difficult to find out what your passion is, or maybe you know it, and maybe you just haven't followed it yet. But it's super, super critical, in my opinion, to find your passion and to follow it. Because when you love doing something, you're going to put in so much positive effort, and it's going to create a small ripple that's going to turn into a giant wave. It's going to help you, and it's going to help so many other people if you're passionate about what you're doing with your life. One exercise that I think is a really great way to find your passion, or at least get a head start and start to get in the right direction, is to make a list with 3 columns. And in that first column, write down a bunch of things that you are interested in. Just things that you have this natural knack for wanting to learn more about. It could be history, it could be people, it could be dancing, whatever it is. Next column, I want you to write down things that you're actually really good at. Are you good at researching? Are you good at math? Are you good at dancing? Whatever the thing may be. And in the third column, I want you to write down things that are feasible in your life. Like realistically, where you can thrive and to live that is actually feasible. A salary that you want to make that is actually feasible and tangible and realistic in your day-to-day life. And then I want you to look and I want you to see if there's any connections between those 3 columns. See if there's anything where all 3 of those columns can join together and create that perfect passion, that perfect career for you. Okay, so the second way to learn how to love yourself more is to stop comparing yourself to others. So this is something I definitely struggle with. And I mean, it's completely natural though. Everyone compares themselves to others. It's just a matter of how much you're comparing yourself to others and what you're comparing about yourself to other people. A lot of times comparing yourself to others can honestly be a good thing. You know, it can motivate you to be a better version of yourself. You can look at maybe your idols and start comparing how you're living their life to how they're living their life and start to achieve greatness through having them as an inspiration. That being said, if you're somebody who's constantly comparing yourself to others, you probably have that little voice in your head that's saying, oh, they're better at XYZ than I am, or like, I'll never be at the level of whatever that they are. And that's a super toxic place to be because you're always going to find negative stuff. You might find stuff that, you know, you're better at than they are, but you're always going to be searching for those negative things, and it's always going to come back to making you feel a lack of self-love for yourself. So my advice is to literally train your brain to not do this. You can rewire your brain. It is possible. Ask any psychiatrist out there. When you start to feel that little nudge, that little voice in the back of your head that's saying, oh my gosh, does my body look like that? Or, you know, they got a promotion. I wonder if I could get a promotion. Probably not. Stop yourself right there. The moment you start analyzing someone, analyzing yourself, and making that comparison, literally distract yourself, do whatever you can to forget about that thought. And I promise you, you're going to start loving yourself much more. So the third way to love yourself more is to stop seeking approval from others. The thing is, it's super normal to want to get approval from people that we admire, people that we trust. A lot of times you might go to your mom or dad, your significant other, maybe even a teacher that you trust for certain pieces of advice on certain topics. And that's okay. Where the problem lies is when you are so dependent on advice from other people that you feel lost in your own mind, lost in decision making in your own head because you've been so dependent on other people's perceptions. That being said, not everyone's advice and perception on a certain thing is really the best for you. If I genuinely asked every person that I trusted, my best friends, my parents, you know, whatever, before making a decision, whether it be, you know, what I'm wearing or if I want to move across the country or not, I would be in a lesser position than I am right now. Your gut feeling is literally the best thing for you. And when you ask other people their opinions on things, you are straying away and not listening to your gut, which is literally what's leading you down the right path for yourself. You're going to love yourself so much more when you have your own authentic idea and see it through. I mean, for example, I literally decided to pick up my stuff from Chicago and move all the way to San Diego, California without even visiting it. This was something that I knew in my gut that I wanted to do. And I had a lot of people that I told that were saying, no, don't do that. It's going to be too this, it's going to be too that. You're going to miss people, whatever. I didn't listen to them and I wasn't seeking approval from them. I was merely telling people about what I was doing, but people offered unsolicited advice and I decided not to listen to them. I decided not to seek that approval from those people. And it was the best decision I ever made because it was my idea and I saw it through. So next time you find yourself wanting to pick up the phone and call your mom and say, hey, I don't know if switching my job is a good idea. What do you think I should do? Or calling up one of your friends and saying, hey, I love this outfit, but I don't know if it makes me, you know, look too fat or too skinny or whatever. What do you think I should do? Literally put your phone down. Think about what your gut is telling you. Think about what makes you feel good and go with that. And it might feel a little bit scary. You might feel a little bit confused, but after a while, you're going to start trusting yourself so much more with making decisions and feel your own self-approval. It's going to feel so much more natural. And that's going to make you love yourself more because you're learning to trust yourself and believe in yourself. So the fourth way to start loving yourself more is to genuinely start to connect with yourself and get to know yourself. A lot of times you might be just going through the motions. You might be going down a route that, you think your parents or other people are going to expect from you. You might be just hanging out with certain people that seem like, people you should be hanging out with without even really giving it a thought. Just kind of going through the motions, doing what you think is right based on society or what other people are doing. But what you really need to do is sit down with yourself and get to know yourself more, not just what society or other people are expecting from you. I journal a ton, and I meditate a ton, and I talk to myself in the mirror a ton, because I have found that literally spending time with myself, kind of as like my own therapist or my own best friend, I've started to uncover some things that I didn't know about myself. I've started to learn where some insecurities lie, and some dreams lie, and some desires lie, and some questions lie, just from trying to connect with myself and get to know myself at a deeper level. Don't continuously numb yourself out or push down these thoughts and these feelings about yourself, because it's only going to make you love yourself less. My advice is to do something peaceful, whether it's, play some soothing music, light some candles, and start journaling, or looking yourself in the mirror and asking yourself questions. Maybe it's going for a walk, without your phone, without listening to music, and just simply diving deep inside yourself. Whatever the case may be, do something peaceful where you can genuinely reflect and do some of this inner work. Inner work is going to help you find the things that you want to work on about yourself. Don't beat yourself up too much, but it's going to help you identify some of the problems in your life, some of your problem areas that are kind of keeping you stuck and are keeping you from excelling. And it's also going to help you notice all the amazing things about yourself that you might be overlooking literally every single day. You might have heard different things called shadow work, or working on your inner child, trying to find your inner child and heal that person. And it can be a little bit confusing on where to start. I have a website that I really like to go to for working on meditation, kind of more spiritual or inner work stuff. Even if you're not a spiritual or meditating kind of person, this website, it's called Loner Wolf, can be really, really beneficial. So go to Google, type in inner work Loner Wolf, and you'll find that first link. And there's also a lot of different links out there that can help you, especially in this article that I'm talking about. So I definitely would suggest checking this out and getting to work on healing your inner self. The fifth way to love yourself more is to stop beating yourself up so much. This is something that I personally struggle with a ton, beating myself up for not being perfect. But right off the bat, I need to tell you that there is no way for you to be perfect, and you should never strive for perfection, but strive for excellence. A lot of times, if you're really good at beating yourself up, it's because you are so hyper-focused on what you're doing wrong and you forget about what you're doing right. And this comes from an extreme self-awareness standpoint, which a lot of times leads to negativity, and it's not good. In actuality, you probably are excelling so much more than you think you are, but because you are analyzing yourself so much, you just keep beating yourself up because you're not perfect, and that stems from a lack of self-love. My first piece of advice: literally write down things in a journal, in your notes on your iPhone, whatever. Don't just say it in your head, write it down. It's going to make much more of an impact. Write down the things that you're not perfect at, the things that you're beating yourself up for. Next to that item, write down literally what you could have done better. Is there anything that you literally could have done better? And then think about all the reasons why you didn't do better. Maybe you literally aren't qualified enough for that job, realistically. Maybe there was 1,000 applicants and you were just one, and it just so happened that there was someone else that was way more qualified. Maybe you have a failed relationship, but because of your past, because of your upbringing, you don't know any better how to manage a healthy relationship because maybe your parents couldn't manage a healthy relationship. Think realistically about why you weren't able to be perfect in that scenario. This will help you understand that there's no reason to be ashamed of not being perfect. Next thing I want you to do is write down all the things that you do feel like you excel at. Maybe you're not a master at it or perfect, but maybe you're literally killing it at your job. Maybe you're literally becoming top of your class in whatever school you're at. Those are things that you should be focusing on. You know, like I said, you can't strive for perfection. It is literally unattainable. There's no such thing. You can only strive for excellence. So think of those things you are excellent at and focus on those and tell yourself that every single day. Look in that journal or that notes app every single day and look at those things that you are excelling at and start focusing on that positive aspect and not those negative things. Next exercise I want you to do is to picture a loved one. Maybe it's your significant other, maybe it's your little sister, maybe it's your mom, maybe it's your best friend, someone that you genuinely love a lot. What if they didn't get that job? What if they, weren't the best at something that they wanted to be the best at? Something where they're, beating themselves up a little bit, whatever the case may be. What would your mindset be about that? What would your advice be? I think most of us would probably say, it's okay. You're not meant to be perfect. Maybe this isn't for you. This is not the thing for you, but it's okay. Look at all this amazing stuff you've done. Or, maybe you'll say you'll pick yourself up. You're going to get there. It just takes time, but it's totally okay. Bottom line, you're probably going to be a really comforting, supportive, positive person for that person. You're not going to beat them up and tell them, you should have done better. You should have done this. You're going to be supportive. That's how you should be treating yourself. So I want you to look in the mirror when you start beating yourself up, and I want you to pretend that it's not you, but it's your loved one that's experiencing whatever this is, and treat yourself how you would treat them. Something else that is really, really healing is to imagine yourself as a child. Imagine how you were when you were 5 years old or 10 or 15, whatever the case may be. Imagine when you were younger and how you felt when you were a failure in those days. Maybe you were in 7th grade and you failed your spelling test and you felt so bad about yourself and you were beating yourself up. Maybe when you were 5 years old, you stole candy that you weren't supposed to and your mom was super mad at you and you cried and you felt terrible about yourself. Look back on that now and look at how silly that looks. And look at how much you wish you could go back and hug yourself and say, girl or boy or whoever you are, it's totally fine. Like, it doesn't matter. Give yourself an internal little hug. Pretend that person is right there in front of you and give them a little hug. Basically what this does is it develops a relationship with your past self. And when you learn to forgive your past self, that's still kind of buried deep down inside of you, you learn to love yourself more. There's a lot of unresolved stuff that we have from our childhood. And if we learn to love those versions of ourselves as well, we can learn to love ourselves now. And if we look back and look at the silly things that we were stressed about and beating ourselves up about back then, we can start to realize, hey, in 5 years, is this really gonna matter? Am I really gonna be that upset with myself? Probably not. So don't stress about it. Stop beating yourself up. The 6th way to create more self-love for yourself is to do something every day that outwardly expresses love for yourself. When you want to show someone else that you care about love for them, what are some things you normally do? Maybe you sit with them and you talk to them and you tell them how amazing they are. Maybe you buy them flowers. Maybe you just listen to them when they want to talk. Maybe you bring them somewhere really cool that they've really been wanting to go. Whatever your form of expressing love is, you need to look inside and start realizing, hey, I need to do that for myself as well. It's especially important to show yourself love when you're not feeling great about yourself, when you're having one of those days where you're seriously lacking some self-love and you can feel it. So some suggestions that I would give you is literally stand in front of the mirror and say some affirmations. I do this probably every day. I look in the mirror and I have a little chat and I tell the girl in the mirror, hey, I love you. You're killing it. You're amazing. You accomplished this. You accomplished that. You're going to accomplish this. You're trying your best. Whatever I need to hear that day, I tell myself. This might also work in the form of writing things down. This might also work in the form of literally on post-it notes, writing little affirmations and sticking them in different places so that you find them and remind yourself all day these great things about yourself or about the person that you're striving to become. If you're super sad and you're crying, what would you do if a friend was crying? Maybe you'd get them ice cream. Go buy yourself some ice cream. Give yourself a literal hug. That feels so good. Do whatever you would do for someone else to show love, and do that for yourself. So the 7th way to get some more self-love is to take care of yourself. My mom used to say that you should do something every day for your mind, body, and soul. Your mind is obviously the thing that is driving you forward and something that is super, super fragile at times, but can be rewired so that you can behave and become the best person that you possibly can. Your body is obviously your physical body. Your physical body affects how your mind feels too. It affects a lot of different aspects of your life, and keeping it healthy is really important. Your soul can mean your literal soul if you are a spiritual person, or just, that little voice inside your head, or that gut feeling, that thing that gives you passion in life. Yourself is your most important investment, and you need to invest time and energy and healing into yourself so that you can love yourself fully and become the best possible version of yourself. For your body, I would recommend stopping a couch potato. If you're someone who wakes up at 1 p.m. and, complains about feeling sad or lethargic or, doesn't look the best, yeah, it might feel good to lay in bed all day. But if you get up and get active, literally, if it is impossible to get out of bed because your mind is not there, literally just get up, open your door, step outside, go for a walk around the block, and come back. That's it. That's going to make your body literally physically better. Eat lots of fruits and vegetables with vitamins. That will literally make you feel better. Your food is either your medicine or the thing that's going to slowly kill you. So make sure you're eating well. Make sure you're working out as well. If you want to have this dream body, that's gonna be something that will make you love yourself even more when you take those little steps to accomplish this amazing accomplishment. Something that I've really realized about making sure that my mind is healthy and I'm taking care of my mind is to, 1, be mindful and meditate and go to therapy, and 2 is to cut out toxic stuff from media or people. I thought that my mind was strong enough to be able to filter certain things out, but your mind can literally become brainwashed accidentally by the media or, social media, whatever it may be, or by people. I used to listen to certain podcasts that I just thought were funny, but then I realized this is super toxic. This is not good for my mind or my self-esteem. I used to hang out with certain people that I thought, they're not like me, I'm different, I'm not gonna let them influence me. And then I started to become like them. So you need to make sure that you are feeding your mind, just like how you feed your body. It's good to feed your body with fruits and vegetables and nutrients. You need to feed your mind with healthy stuff as well. As for your soul or your passion or whatever you want to call it, make sure you're feeding that too. It's not all about being super technical and making sure your mind's on point and your body's on point. A lot of our self-love comes from expressing ourselves. So whether you want to be a super spiritual person and believe in a higher power, maybe that gives you purpose, that makes you love yourself even more, then do that. Maybe it's creating art. Maybe it's literally painting or doing music or whatever. Maybe that's what feeds your soul or your passion. You need to make sure you're taking care of that aspect of your life in order to fulfill what you want, and it's going to make you love yourself more. This is especially important if you didn't feel taken care of as a child or were neglected as a child. If people didn't give you the things that you needed, you need to make sure, hey, that wasn't normal. That wasn't normal that I was neglected, that I wasn't cared for in the way that I want to be cared for. And now it's up to you to make sure that you're taking care of yourself. The eighth way to improve your self-love is to be kind to others. It is well known that doing good things for other people make you feel good. It literally will put a smile on your face when you make someone's day, even if you're kind of a cynical person. I really urge you to go out there and try to do something nice for others. Try to be kind to someone. Answer their question even if it's stupid, or hold a door open for someone. I promise you, it's going to lift you up. This often might give you a sense of self-worth. It might give you that little bit of purpose in your life for that day. Maybe that person really needed a vent session. Maybe that person was really down and needed some help picking up their groceries, and you were that person that gave them a little bit of love and respect. And that's how you should think of it. And that's literally going to make you love yourself more. If you're someone that believes in karma or manifesting, or just that, if you do good, good will come back to you, then this will definitely help your self-love. Doing so many caring things for others can help remind you that you need to be doing the same thing for yourself. So if you're constantly being super nice to other people, super generous, you're probably going to start being more generous for yourself, which is going to make you love yourself even more. When you start to be super nice to people, to be kind to others, or go above and beyond for others, that might help you love yourself more, because that's a characteristic you can add to your list of positive things about yourself. That might be the thing that you love the most about yourself, and it can give you a lot of self-love. Something to keep in mind though is to keep your expectations realistic. If you go above and beyond for people, they might not do the same for you. They might be snarky, they might be rude, and you can't bank on people being as kind as you are. Because if you do think that people are going to respond the same way that you do and be super kind back, that's going to definitely take a hit on your self-worth. You might think, well, if I did this for them, then they must hate me because they didn't do the same. That's not the case. Make sure to protect yourself and be grounded in yourself that it has nothing to do with you if people don't reciprocate the kindness that you put out there. The ninth way to create more self-love for yourself is to learn to live with suffering. You're going to have suffering, you're going to have failures. But something you need to take note of is that this should not waver your self-love. This is something that I've struggled with, because I might be in a great place and love myself and feel really good about myself, and then something bad happens and all of a sudden I start getting these thoughts in my head like, you did this, you made this happen, you're the worst. You shouldn't feel anxious, you shouldn't feel angry at XYZ. That's simply not the case. You cannot let your self-love waver just because bad things happen, because they're inevitable. You may even develop some really bad coping skills and may try to fill the void that your lack of self-love is creating by turning to drugs or alcohol, which is definitely a path you do not want to go down. If you're trying to numb out your suffering, you're never going to actually get over it, and it's just going to become this continuous loop, this continuous cycle. In The Prophet, Khalil Gibran says, "The deeper your sorrow carves into your being, the more joy you will contain." And you might say, what does this mean? Basically, this means that the more sorrow that you feel, the more experiences you go through, the more joy you're going to contain, because you're going to learn lessons and appreciate different things because of the sorrow you experienced. How will your sorrow and failure shape you? It literally rests in your hands, in your perspectives, in your choices, in your attitudes, in your behavior. When I went through a really hard breakup because it was my fault, because I was being a toxic girlfriend, I literally learned to love myself even more. That experience was the catalyst for how I love myself now, and I truly mean that. It caused me to look at myself in the mirror and to realize, hey, we need to work on some stuff. And through working on stuff, I literally learned how to be there for myself through my journey of growth. So I can tell you from experience that, you know, the worst times of my life have caused me to excel and propel myself into even greater self-love than I can even imagine. So the 10th and final way to create more self-love for yourself is to continue learning about who you are. It is so important to grow with yourself and to learn more about yourself through this journey we call life. Because a lot of the things that you might have loved about yourself and gave you a purpose in the past might not be the same things that give you a purpose now. And it is so important to keep asking yourself questions about, hey, what are the attributes about myself that make me super excited to be me? What are the things that are giving me a purpose that makes me love myself more? Maybe one of the characteristics about yourself that you love right now is that you're a terrific friend. You're always there for your friends, and that makes you feel so good about your existence. That gives you a lot of self-love. But maybe in the future, if you become a parent, maybe that's going to be the thing that gives you a purpose and makes you love yourself even more. You're constantly changing, you're constantly growing, and there's going to be things that you grow into and grow out of. And you need to make sure that you're still getting to know yourself every single day, so you know what you love about yourself, so you know what you need to make you love yourself even more. Another thing that I want to emphasize is that it's okay to not blindly love yourself. It's actually very unrealistic to just love everything about yourself and just be okay with yourself completely. I was struggling with this a lot. I was talking to my therapist and I was saying, I'm trying to love myself more, but I'm finding that because I'm forcing myself to love everything about me and to accept everything about me, that I'm actually loving myself less. Because everyone tells you, you know, you should love yourself and accept yourself for everything about you, for who you are. And I find that when I am trying to do that, I don't, and it makes me super discouraged. And something that he says was, you can't strive for perfection, you can only strive for excellence. You can't strive for blindly loving yourself. You can only strive to like and love the person that you are and that you're willing to become. If there's certain things that you don't like about yourself, you don't have to force yourself to blindly love them, because you're going to think that there's a problem with you for not loving those things. So I just wanted to add that in, that, you know, there might be things you don't like about yourself, and that's okay. You can fix those. You don't have to blindly force yourself to love everything, because that's unrealistic. The goal here is to come to a point of self-love in the fact that even though you do have failures and aspects that you don't 100% love about yourself, that you still love who you are and you still genuinely like the person that you are and you're becoming. So that even when you do have those failures or you're trying to better yourself, trying to work on certain things, you can fall back on your self-love and your groundedness, and that you know that you're going to change those ways and become a better person. Well, that's it, folks. 10 ways to love yourself more, to get more self-love. This is so important. I genuinely care about each and every one of you. I want each and every one of you to experience so much self-love, because that's how we're going to have collectively a better existence, and that's how we're going to help other people have a better existence too. Remember, you can't pour from an empty cup, so take care of yourself and learn to love yourself. Well, I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Make sure to like the video if you want to see more topics like this, and make sure to subscribe if you haven't already, so you're constantly seeing new self-love, self-improvement videos every single week. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next one.